Hello, everybody. It's me, Pacific. There was a couple things I was going to talk about, but I wanted to talk about Hong Kong women. I don't know how many views I'll get on this video, but it merits discussion, and it is a topic worthy of talking about because there was one thing I did not totally communicate. I communicated it in my Chinese and Hong Kong are rude video, but I wanted to elaborate. When Pacific was living there, I did 3 trips over there. One was in 2008 to meet the Filipina, and so I was there for a week and some change. And then we spent partial week in the Philippines, and then I came back 2009 to 2010 for 8 months, and then I came back for my last trip for 5 months. I was interested in the Filipina, but I was also hoping, and I was very naive, viewers, very. Hong Kong was so foreign to me, no pun intended, that when I got there, all the skyscrapers so close together. I remember a Filipina lady I met. She goes, "The skyscraper, they stick together. How come the buildings stick together?" And I laughed. I always thought that was cute. The signs, the writing, the hubbub, and everything of life, and it was interesting. After I got used to Hong Kong and felt like I was comfortable with it, and then I had problems with the woman that I had gone over there to marry and get involved with. I did look at women. And I remember in Hong Kong that I had gone into a bakery with this gal I had married. She was looking around, and I went to ask the lady a question. She was a young Chinese gal. Her response, her attitude, her body language were no different than the junior high girls here in the United States. Yes, one instant. But I remember when I would walk, Same Great Dreamer actually made a comment, said, "I noticed a trend." And I said, "No, I think it's been going on for a while." But he noticed that women over there want a man who makes more money than them. This has been going on for a while. Chinese women, as a rule, in Hong Kong cosmopolitan society, they will not get involved with a guy that isn't loaded. It just is a fact. The Chinese woman that I ended up dating over there was not from Hong Kong. She was from Guangdong province. She worked 7 days a week at a seafood restaurant in Shangwan. I don't know what her life was like because we couldn't communicate each other's language. But the reason she liked me is because, according to what she told my Filipina friend, never a man treat me like Pacific. And in her eyes, I am sure that she thought I made way more than she did, and I know that I do. My paycheck in 2 weeks is more than she makes in an entire month, and my job is part-time. Hers was full. Granted, our cost of living over here is higher, but it doesn't matter. In their eyes, we make way more than they do. I remember walking many times, and one of the reasons they started stripping my shirt off in public, viewers, I want to talk about that. Some people have hang-ups about me doing videos with my shirt off. I try to be sensitive to that, but sometimes I think, you know what? This is my channel. I'll do what I want. I'm not showing my breasts. I mean, come on, man. Here's the thing. When I hit my 40s, I was very self-conscious up until then. I never walked around with a shirt off, not even in my own house. But I was always so insecure. And one day I was in Minnesota. It was a hot, steamy summer. I was out mowing the lawn, and I finally ripped my shirt off. Gosh, I'm sweating like a pig. Neighbor lady pulls up in her SUV. She stops. She goes, "Wow, you need to walk around with your shirt off more often." I was like, "Really?" The neighbor said that. Interesting. I noticed people treated me different. In Hong Kong, I got so tired of being rammed into bank excuse me, pushed out on the streets, that when I was walking with my shirt off, that did not happen near as much. I'm a small build guy, but I do have muscle tone, and I do have a small chest, and it shows. And people over there, I was bigger than a lot of them. When they see the definition of the muscles, they are less likely to bang into you. But nonetheless, I remember office ladies, they call them OLs over there, office ladies. They're in their 20s. Once a Chinese woman starts getting into her 30s, a lot of the men don't look at them anymore in Chinese culture. A lot of the Chinese men, like Same Day Dreamer said, they want the big, busted white women. It's so funny that everywhere you go in the world, people are tired of their own backyard and they want what's on the other side of the ocean also. Filipinas don't want the Filipino males, they want a foreign man. However, not necessarily true in America and the Mexican community. I've noticed the Mexicans really stick to the Mexicans and the blacks really stick to the blacks. For the most part, there are exceptions. But I would walk, and there'd be 10 office ladies wide walking. And they're holding hands. Or they're walking shoulder to shoulder, literally like in formation. I'm walking, I can't get around them, so I walk straight. They don't move. And I connected shoulders with them all the time, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to bang into a woman. For Pacific, I was shocked to find that Hong Kong women were not very nice at all. They were downright rude. And people write me all the time saying, well, you stupid American, you can't go to another culture and expect them to act like you. I'll tell you what, there are some rude Americans, and I know that. But I will say that when I'm walking out in public with a crowd of people, yeah, sometimes women won't move. And there are some women that they will bang into a man just because they think I'm female, I don't have to move. Well, listen, lady, if you want feminism and equal rights, you need to move just as much as I need to move. Get over yourself. Same Day Dreamer said the women aren't feminist over there. I'm not so sure about that. The truth is, I don't know. I remember walking at a good clip and hard and fast. I don't walk slow anywhere I go. I don't stroll. I don't like walking in crowded places like shopping malls and stuff where women are just ditzing into the left and into the right, and you're trying to get around them, and you're like, ah, I know they're looking, but it's like, can you pay attention? There's other people in here too, lady. Chinese typically walk fast. But women, office ladies, pretty long-haired office ladies, they would not yield, they would not move, and even schoolgirls with uniforms. I got to the point after living there, and I talked to a Filipino friend of mine who was a flatmate. I talked to other American men, British men. I talked to Filipinas. And the Filipinas said, yeah, the Chinese, they like that. They shove, they push, they don't move. And the Filipinos said, you know what I started doing? I walk fast and I stiffen up my back because I figure if they're going to hit me, it's going to hurt. I have never had a Chinese person gasp or go, oh, or make a comment when I connected with them. I will not deliberately ram them, but if they're not going to move and I'm all the way over against the wall of a building, I'm going, you know what? Bulldozer time. I can't tell you how many times I almost knocked a woman over because they fail to yield. And I can only turn this way so much in that crowd of people, and I thought, they're not doing it to each other. And I asked myself, they're doing it to us foreigners. I remember a Chinese guy, older man, with a younger Chinese man, who was all the way over to the right, couldn't go anymore. The street was there, and the cars were right there, zooming. He had room to move. He wouldn't, and he slammed square in my shoulder. And when I saw him coming, I stiffened, and I hit him hard. And I thought, what is with that? They like body contact? One day, when a group of office ladies came, I saw them, and I thought, you know, I've had enough. And I walked right down the middle, and they came, and they weren't going to let go hands. And I I posited myself so that I'd go right between them. I hit both of them. Both of them spun like this, and one went like that. And I thought, and I turned around and I said, move! They don't understand what I'm saying. In Hong Kong, it's a cosmopolitan city. The cost of living is extremely high. When an expat is paying $6,500 a month for a rent of a 3-bedroom flat, that ought to tell you something. Hong Kong was rated as more expensive than Tokyo, New York, London, and Paris. You have an exceedingly poor populace and a filthy rich populace. The idea of this in-between is almost non-existent. People go to Hong Kong and they think, wow, look at the glitter and glamour of these cool buildings and stuff. That is all symbol of money and prowess. And let me tell you, most expats going to Hong Kong, unless they live there for a while and pay attention, don't realize that there's deep, deep poverty in Hong Kong. A whole lot of people live in what's called cage housing. A lot of people live in a flat that's designed for 2 people, and they've got 20, 25 people stuffed in there. They've cubed up the flat, the one big room, and they've cubicled it out. And these people are paying $300, $400 US a month to live like that. The rent that I paid in what was called a boarding house, Filipinos call it a boarding house, when a Filipino or Chinese takes a flat, divvies it up into 6 or 7 little cubicle places big enough for a bunk bed, and the walkway between your wall and the bunk bed, and maybe a little shelf or cabinet. I paid $300 a month for that. So when I moved to Lantau and paid cheaper for a bedroom of my own in a woman's house, a Filipina's place, it was actually a place she rented, I was living. I didn't mind living in the scrunched-in quarters in central Hong Kong or Causeway Bay. I actually liked the interaction with the ladies I lived with. I liked the fact that when I come home every night, they would greet me and say hello, and I'd be cooking, and they'd be talking about what I was cooking, and there was involvement. And roommates in the U.S. don't always work out, and yet things worked over there, and I was shocked. Here we're all foreigners to each other, and we're getting along just fine. Filipino women tend to be a lot more gracious, a lot more accepting, and a lot more kinder. There are problems in the Filipino camp, and one needs to be careful. But I found a lot of Filipinos just willing to go out with me because they just wanted a nice guy. What I don't always know is what is in their heart and what is going through their mind. Are they looking at me with dollar signs in their eyes? They could be. I believe that the woman I got involved with in Hong Kong and married, it took me a long time to wake up to this, but I look back on my first trip out there, and there were warning signs. The way she treated me on the first 2 weeks ever of our lives interconnecting. And let me tell you, viewers, I was so excited about that trip. I remember when I got in the plane over San Francisco and started taking off across the Pacific, I got all choked up. I'm like, wow, I'm finally flying over my ocean. And a lot of thoughts went through my mind, but the Men at Work song, Down by the Sea, came into my mind. It's a very favorite song of mine. You can pull it up on YouTube, Down by the Sea, Men at Work. Down by the sea, I found your hidden treasure. I truly thought I had met that special one. When I went over there for a woman that was older than me, a woman who had lived in Singapore, Manila, Iloilo, Miagao, Hong Kong, she had more international experience than I did, and I expected to meet somebody somewhat sophisticated. I was shocked to find that her mentality was like that of a child, in a bad way. Rude, demanding, get very angry, hang up the phone. I was so obsessed with her that I picked up her bad characteristics. And let me just share this. She claimed on her profile she was Christian. What I didn't know is she had embraced a lot of the name it and claim it false teaching that goes through the Benny Hinn and Joyce Meyer and the charismatic hoopla camp of the United States. Make no mistake about it, in the Philippines, there's a lot of charlatans making big money selling a twisted gospel. And because a lot of the Filipinos are simple, they're lapping it up like dogs eating gravy-covered biscuits out of a bowl. The Philippines has a dire need for people to go down there and teach them true doctrine and scripture. When I got involved with her, I remember the first thing I noticed was movies she was watching, stuff she was listening to. We went to Sinta Jay's, which was down in Wan Chai, for dinner one night. That was a huge fiasco. 2 hours before we go, she jabs me in the shoulder and says, 6 of us going, my friends, they all want to meet you. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, you pay. I said, what? I said, I pay for you and your niece, because they both worked as domestic helpers in the same house. And she said, yeah, you pay. That's what the American's supposed to do. Now, dumb me, I just thought, okay, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Good thing I had my credit card that night. $138 for 6 people, but that wasn't bad. You go to a restaurant in the U.S., you can pay a lot more than that. Unless it's McDonald's or something. But they had a band there, a Chinese band, imitating American music. And one of the songs they were singing was John Lennon's, or the Beatles' Imagine There's No Heaven, It's Easy If You Try. And I looked at her and I said, do you know what this song is about? She goes, what do you mean? I said, this isn't good. For a Christian, imagine there's no heaven. I said, why would we entertain that? There were some other songs they played that were just the stuff you'd hear in an American bar, just crap, just junk. And all I did was politely say something, and it dawned on me, dude, you and her are not on the same spiritual level. And then as the night wore on, I noticed one of her relatives there was eyeballing me pretty good and smiling and making eyes at me with all her cleavage exposed. And I'm not going to lie, I had a very difficult time with that. She sat across from me. She was drop dead gorgeous. And I said to her after we'd been there for several hours, I said, you know what? I think it's time to go. No! She was very rude, very unkind. And I started going, is there something wrong with me? Why is she reacting with such anger? She would always scold. And it took me a long time to say, look at what she's done. All she's been doing is raising kids and dogs. And all she's used to doing is, stop it. No, quit that. Get down. She was doing it to me. And I wasn't doing anything. My 2-week trip over there, I saw her act like a junior high girl. I remember she had a sleeveless shirt on one day. She had her head back. And she walked the way a lot of these teenage girls in the U.S. walk. And that's when it hit me. This girl is kind of a biatch. And at the time, I was somewhat attracted to that because I thought she was so sexy. When I went over there to marry her, that was every day. And I'll tell you what, that's why a lot of these teenage girls in the U.S. have a real hard time with any committed relationship, because guys, they may think you're sexy with your little attitude, but when you got to live with that every day, it ain't cute anymore, and it gets old real quick. So, let's talk about compromise. I told you it was her that got me involved in karaoke. I did not dance as a Christian. I felt it was a sin. Now, I look at that a little bit different now, but I found myself listening to music I shouldn't be listening to. I found myself going down, very much down. There were some changes that were positive. I needed to loosen up a little. I was too doctrinally uptight. Doctrinal astuteness is good, but I was so afraid of sinning and this and that. And when I got involved with her, her culture was so flirtatious. Her culture was so sensual. And because it's hot, they wear sensual clothes and are brown skin is showing and their shoulders. And I'll tell you what, it was very, very difficult. Little by little, I'd go to church with her and the preacher'd be preaching and she's like almost tuning out. And she wanted to hear music and she wanted to sing, and it took me a while to realize a lot of Filipino women don't want to get deep. They're simple. You put on the music and they come to animated life. When I would chat with her after coming back, she only wanted to laugh and have fun or scold. There was no in between, like, yeah, I did my routes today and it snowed and I had to shovel the driveway. She just didn't, that stuff was so foreign to her. I compromised so bad, viewers, and when that relationship, when I finally woke up, and I felt like, I know that I've always been teased or looked down on for my thick glasses. I know that a lot of people have called me a nerd and a dork and a geek. And it took me a while to realize, you know, she's treating me the way a lot of the women in the U.S. would look at me. Like, you know. Remember when I was there the first trip, I got the feeling like, I don't think this girl really is your soulmate. And I don't think that she's looking at you thinking, wow, I got a real handsome dude. She was very cold as ice. And little things showed up when we went to karaoke one night. The second time after the first one turned out to be nothing but a fight with her. I said, we don't need to be going down there. I went there. Filipina started dancing with me. She kept telling me on the bench, go, she wants to dance with you. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I was having problems in the marriage, and women, before you condemn us men, we're human. This Filipino was hot, and she kept coming up to me and going like this, seducing. And I thought, wow, she's very warm. My wife pushes me off the bench and says, go, it's in our culture, it's okay. Fine. Get out there. The girl's got her breasts into my chest. And I'm like, sheesh, I'm gone now. The girl's working me further and further into the crowd, away from her. Can I have your number? You're so handsome. What? She told me I was handsome. She put her arms around me. She turns around, puts her arms in the air, pulls my hands up right here. I'm like, sheesh, lady, no! And she's sitting there watching, and I'm like, oh, man, I pull my hands back like, ah. When I get done, I see the look on her face, and she is angry. Why'd that woman do like that? I said, what did you expect? Look at what everybody's doing in this room. They're dancing very sensual. You won't dance with me. By the way, she would not dance with me, folks. And before some of you trolls go, oh, that's because you're a retarded nerd. No, there were girls, and I found out and showed her a lot of very good-looking women thought I was the cat's meow over there. I remember the first time I walked up in Hong Kong. It was hot. I pulled my shirt off, and I walked up. Why are you walking with your shirt off? I said, because I can, and it's hot. All her lady friends said, ooh, Pacific has his shirt off. Wow, sexy, handsome, wow. And they were all going. And she's standing there with complete consternation. It took me time to realize she was not interested in Pacific. She wasn't interested in my interests. She wasn't interested in the depth of scripture that I knew. She was looking for a way out of her circumstances. I can tell you clear as a bell. Now, did I do things in that relationship that upset her? Yes, I did, because I'd finally had enough. And I'm not going to get into that with you viewers because it's nobody's business. No, I wasn't violent there. But yes, I had married her 4 months, and it was a living hell. Complaining and biatching every day. Stuff like, I'm in the shower with one of those plastic accordion doors with a magnet on it. There's other people in the flat. She rip open the door, slam it open, scare me half to death. I'm like, what? Why you wash like that? What do you mean, why I wash like that? Put the soap on the washcloth and scrub it up dub. Apparently, it didn't meet her standard, and it's just criticizing everything. From when I cooked my food to this and that. And she demanded I make Facebook. And this is why I have a bigot version of Facebook. She wanted me to make one for her, one for me. I spent a day putting that thing together. She was so happy. Oh, wow, look, love, I can do this. She'd get home from a long day at work, and instead of wanting to hug or make love or spend time with me, here, open your laptop. I want to go on the Facebook. Really? This went on every night. Pacific made a choice to sin. And when I put her out, it didn't take me but a week or a few days to meet up with some lovely ladies and find out, my gosh, there's actually girls out here that like me for me. They didn't ask my job, didn't ask my income, had no interest in coming to America whatsoever. Oh, there were Filipinas at karaoke that would sidle up next to me, very good looking. You know, if you buy me a bucket, I'll go home with you tonight. That's the same thing as walking out on Colfax down the road here and saying, a woman says $100 and you can have me for 5 minutes. No thanks. I told a woman if I have to buy a bucket was a bucket with ice and 10 bottles of Tanduay or Red Horse or booze in it. I said, you know what, I'm not interested in making love to somebody who's liquored up. If you're interested in me and you want to be with me, that's one thing, but no, not buying a cheap night with you. Man, it would have been cheap, trust me. I still wouldn't do it. And then I looked at her and added something that was the nail in her coffin. I said, you know what? In Hong Kong, guy doesn't even have to pay for this stuff. There's plenty of women that just want to be with me and will voluntarily offer themselves up. Compromise. It was all around. The Chinese women were tough to get to know because many times when I meet a Chinese woman who was attracted to me, the first thing out of their mouth, oh, what is your job in the U.S.? Bus driver. Bus driver? Yeah, school bus driver. Okay. And I thought, yep. Chinese women in Hong Kong, the cash registers are running. I saw it with people that come over from France, young guys, 21, 22, 23 years old, that lived in the flat briefly, tried to land a job, several of them did, and then they all moved in and got another place bigger. They got Chinese girlfriends like that. They go to Long Kwai Fong, which is the nightclub for the expats, and the Chinese women love to hang around there because they could smell the money. And the only time you saw Asian women on the expats sleeve that were Chinese is because they were pulling down good money. A lot of those Chinese women were not nice. They were stuck up, demanding, tempers, this and that. And they thought they were all that and a bag of chips as well. I'm saying that because I was enamored with Hong Kong. I still am. It is an experience all by itself to show up there and just stop and look down on the street and go, whoa, we're not in Kansas anymore. But after living there for some time, I got depressed and I thought, these people are drones here too. They work 6 days a week, 12-hour days. I'd met a Chinese woman online. We never met face to face. She wanted to meet up with me. Problem is, she wanted to meet up at 11 o'clock at night or on a Saturday when I had obligations, and we never met. She worked all day and she insisted on going to the gym. Now, she had sent me her picture. She was slender. She was good looking. I'm thinking, is it possible that you forego the gym one night and I could meet you after work and take you to dinner? Oh no, I must do my gym every day. She was a complete workout Nazi. The same woman would talk to me on the phone and say, Yeah, you know, the men here aren't interested in me because I'm not young. I'm your age. I said, wow, you're beautiful. In the U.S., you'd be a commodity, man. You know what's sad? She could not carve time out of her life to meet somebody. Even when I got back to the States, we emailed back and forth for a while. I said, how you doing with dating? Oh, men aren't interested in me. Well, I was. But she didn't have time. I liked Moy. She was nice. She was different. But the Chinese gals of Hong Kong, they were tough. They weren't nice. They looked like ladies. They were drop dead gorgeous. But then I noticed something else too. A lot of these girls, well into their 20s, were really into Hello Kitty stuff, and I noticed a lot of them were quite childish. They were obsessed with shopping, obsessed with spending money on crapola. And I remember as a kid growing up in the US when Hello Kitty came out, it catered mostly the elementary age girls and the purses and the shirts and the little rings and the Hello Kitty pen sets and all that. And I always thought, well, that's cute. It's girl stuff. But to see adults wearing it, I was like, whoa, that's wild. But there was a mentality that went with those girls. Most of them were mall rats. When they get off work, they spend, spend, spend. And I thought, okay, Pacific, what is the difference between these girls and the crap you see in America? In fact, what is the difference between these girls and American teenage girls? Nothing. Stuck up, won't move, the same. Girls in school uniforms blocking the sidewalk and you can't get by, and they won't move, and you say, excuse me, and they don't move, and they give you the hard look too. Well, guess what? Not a lot of difference there, is there? Then I look at the Filipinas that have been so conditioned by fear, and they're constantly moving. Oh, sorry, so sorry, excuse me, so sorry. I said, what are you apologizing these people for? They're not going to apologize to you. I said, they're banging into everybody, and you accidentally brushed your shoulder. The Filipinas have been conditioned to be utterly respectful or else. I was involved with a lot of Filipino women, some as friends, some I dated, and I will tell you, some of them were just beautiful and so nice and sweet. But I did notice that they hit their flashpoint pretty fast. They get angry over small stuff. One of the common problems I had with one of my friends over there is I'd start to talk about anything that had any tension. No, don't say like that. Don't say like. Can I finish what I'm saying? No, 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 no. Because of their simple background, you're not going to get a lot of deep conversation. A lot of them don't understand, in fairness to them. My love for the Filipino women is still there. I think some of them are gorgeous and pretty, but I also see things more accurately now. And because of that, I want a woman who's on my intellectual level and is pretty. So, that being said, it would pay to marry somebody or be involved with somebody right here who can see our culture for what it is and is tired of it, just like many of us are, and is still nice and has good qualities. It's getting hard to find in this country. A lot of those sweet Filipinos come over to the U.S. Once they find out what we're all about, two things, one of two things happens. They either suddenly wish dreadfully to go back to the Philippines because they find their social structure's gone, that Sunday they don't just get off work and hang out with thousands of Filipinos. They're nowhere to be found. American culture is very cold and non-warm, and that's a shock to them. The other Filipinos come here and they get materialistic, demanding, and rude. But we need to say something, because when I dated the Korean woman born in the U.S. for a year, she informed me about the Korean mentality, and just watching her folks, she said that's normal over there. The parents are all about success. Japan, China, mostly cosmopolitan China, Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and the bigger cities, and Korean culture of women and Japanese culture of women. Money talks. If you pour, you walk. Which begs the question, are these women really looking for love? And my answer is a resounding, I don't think so. They're looking for security. They're looking for a man to give them the life they want, the Hello Kitty life. I want to sit on my laptop and Facebook for the rest of my days. And there's a lot of Filipinos that way. There's different degrees of beauty, and a lot of your taller Filipinos with the Spanish blood, I found them to be very conceited and stuck up because they knew, hey, I can be picky. I saw Indonesian women that way. I remember an Indonesian woman ran into me on the street and she goes, hey, can I have your phone number? So one night she called me, she wants to go for coffee, and she was a 10. And I thought, this kind of a girl in the U.S. would never even consider me. And after we talked a while, it didn't take me long to realize by the questions she was asking, she was looking at how much I made, pure and simple. And she never called again. So, viewers, when I say Asian women are better, there's some caveats to that. There are still women in the United States that will marry a man because they fall in love with him. They're still there. It's getting increasingly difficult to find those pockets, but they're there. The trouble that I got getting involved with a Filipina who was older than me has caused a lot of heartache. I compromised a lot. And you need to know that not all things are as they appear. There was a gentleman on YouTube, a viewer of mine, who released a video showing pictures of a Russian gal. She was drop dead gorgeous. He went over to meet her, and I wrote him in his personal message box. I said, please be careful. A lot of scam in Russia. He was very, just like I was, he was high on the fact, wow, she's so gorgeous and she wants me. He did not elaborate. He didn't tell me all the details, but he wrote me recently and said, Pacific, I hate to admit to you, you were right. This all turned out to be a big joke. Women in the world that have good looks know what they can get. Women that are advertising in foreign countries to pose topless and this and that, they're not the kind of women you're going to ever get a date with. I want you men and I want you women who are Christian women to start looking at the music videos you watch and look at the women and look at what is going on in the video. I was listening to some music by Shahzoda last night. I was listening to a lot of international music, and there's some beautiful music out there, but the woman always dressed sexy. Always, I don't know what it is with women and their underarms. They always got to do this thing and look at it. And it hit me the other day. Do you know what these videos do? I listen to music, but I watch these videos to see what are they saying in the video. And one theme emerges every time with any female vocalist in the rock music culture and country music culture. The way the video is put together, it is all look at me, worship me, I'm so special, I'm so hot, I'm so... And every woman, from Andra to Anya to Shahzoda to American females to Romanian, on and on, they're all drawing attention to their sensuality. And I have a message for us guys. You are not going to get those women. They are surrounded by money. They're surrounded by six-pack abs guys all competing to get to bed with that chick. People that set up her concerts, people that run her sound system and do all the work. They are slobbering all over themselves. Women in the music industry are highly narcissistic, highly self-centered. They have no interest in us at all. They're making money, and they're doing almost pornographic videos through the vehicle of music video, and it is showing their nice tight bras and their curves, and they are basically porn dancing for you, even though they have clothes on. And what we're doing when we look at that stuff is we're tormenting ourselves. We know deep down inside, sheesh, I'd love to have a date with her. Last night I put on Ralph Vaughan Williams and some classical music. I used to listen to only classical music because of the images associated with videos and a lot of the lyrics. And I love classical music. It's very intellectual, it's very deep. And yet I like a lot of this foreign music. But music is tough because with the videos and the images presented, it causes further depression in most of us males. I personally believe that us males that work hard, slender, take care of ourselves, we have just as much right to expect to date a woman like that as a plain Jane. But what has happened in our society, whether it's Hong Kong Chinese or Asian women looking for a man with big money, they have been conditioned to believe because of their looks they can have it all. And we men have a big weakness, and it's that thing between our legs. I have watched men at work. I've seen it on I'm sitting in a park and I'll see some office people come out on their break, and I'll see the man, he's got his sunglass propped on his head and he's so trying to get that girl. They're chit-chatting back and forth, and I think, gosh, what a waste of energy. All this pining and trying and attempt, and in the end she's going to go, move along. Good looks have become a goddess, and people are worshiping at that altar. Women are in love with themselves in the music industry. They love to be noticed, they love to be slobbered over, and they love the fact that they can say, I wouldn't touch any of these people, my fans. And people that are fans are stupid. You're so beautiful, such good music. She doesn't care about your opinions. She isn't moved by anything you say. She's pulling down big money. She knows she's good looking. My question is, does she have one of these? It's really sad because the other day I was driving my bus and a bunch of kids got off another bus, junior high girls, some Latina girls, very pretty. I got off the bus and I was stopped at a stop sign, and they looked at me and I went, go ahead. And I see them every day and they waved, thank you. And when I turned the corner, they looked at me and I saluted them. And the one girl, she goes like this to me and waves. It's very sad. They're young, but they're developing. They had curves and everything, and I thought, gosh, cute little things. And what bothered me is kids grow up thinking normal, unless they're in really screwed up homes. It's natural for her to go, wow, he's a handsome guy and he's nice, and they feel that feeling. But because of society, they become conditioned to hate men, to expect way more than they deserve, and it's sad. I can't stand it when I see little boys and how cute they are. The other day I was in the break room and I had that plastic fire hat on, and one of the drivers or one of the paraprofessionals had a little boy in there, and he looked up at me and said, hi buddy. And I took my hat off and I gently put it on his head, and he just smiled, grabbed the edge of the hat and walked around. I thought, you know what's sad? Guy will probably grow up to be another American male jerk. They're so cute when they're little, and that's why I like children, because there's still a lump of clay that hasn't been totally formed yet. And our society just destroys them. And that bothers me. The Bible talks about in 2 Timothy 3, in the conditions of the last days, says, without natural affection. Many Bible scholars try to read into that homosexuality. I said, no, I don't think that can be pigeonholed in there. It could be, but I think without natural affection is a normal girl would look at a normal, slender, fit guy and be attracted to him. They're being conditioned against that thinking. Oh, he wears thick glasses. Oh, he drives a bus. Oh, he doesn't make enough. Oh. And we've seen a shift that men can't have any faults, can't have divorces, can't have children, can't this. But the women are loaded with baggage car caboose. And that's okay. We have to accept them. But they don't have to accept us for one flaw. I want you to look at music videos. And Christian women were doing this. All this Christian music came out in the 90s. Amy Grant. She's one of the most narcissistic, self-serving women out there. And everybody said, oh, she's so godly. Give me a break. I remember countless videos from the 90s where was it Vince Gills leaning over her and she sprawled out, back down, face up, her breasts standing straight to the heavens, and he's just clearly lusting after her. This is Christian music? I remember the woman I was married to for 14 years, she showed me some of these Amy Grant videos, and I said, you know, this stuff is pornography. And even she said, yeah, I guess it is pretty bad. I said, you guess? I said, what if I had a job where I was in a video doing what Vince Gill's doing over here? Would you go for that? No, I wouldn't. I said, but you can watch this and you endorse her. This is what I'm saying. The power of a star and music leads us away from doctrinal thinking. What did Job says? I have made a covenant with my eyes that I will not look at a woman to lust. Well, we in America have blown right past that one. It's hard. But the entertainment industry makes it even tougher if we submit to it. So what I do is I turn on the music and I just scroll down the video, or I minimize the screen and go to other activities. Last night I was playing Mahjong and Solitaire. It's good for the brain, man. I don't want to get old-timers disease. But you know what? I want you to be critical thinkers, men and women. I want you to look at this, and I want you women to look at these videos. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. That's what she's trying to tell you. But watch her. Step outside of yourself and watch her in the video, constantly doing this, and the camera pans to here and pans to the curves and pans to this, and then all the men are standing on the sidelines. Wow. It's almost a worship experience. She's putting herself out there as the goddess. These are my fans. This is my following. Check out my channel. It's crazy, man. People say, well, you got fan specific. Yeah, but they're not lusting after me. Sheesh. If you're that desperate, you got problems. They want to hear what I have to say. Most of these musicians, especially the female drop-dead gorgeous ones, the Europeans, the American women, men are tuning into that because they're getting eye candy all over the video. They may not be wild about the song, but the women are dressing and dancing so provocatively. And what the men in America fail to realize, you ain't going to date with her and you're not going to go to bed with her. She ain't going to go for that. You're pond scum to her. She's pulling down millions of dollars. Yes, I'm going to say it. It's time. The men going their own way movement has some valid points. A lot of women around the globe are all about money. A lot of women that are good looking around the globe, including in India. India's got their fast burgeoning culture, Bollywood, and these women are stuck up, conceited, and rude. Why? Because they know they're a commodity. I said this before. Good looking women are a commodity. They could have a Wall Street just for them. People buying stock into this girl and that girl. And I'll tell you what, they've learned that we guys are not going to get the hot babes. It's not going to happen. They have been conditioned, and it's been shouted at them by the media. Hey, you're worth something. Most hot-looking women don't have to lift a finger, and a guy will swoop them up and give them the ride of their life financially. That's pretty disheartening to people like me that got to get up and put up with these bimbo spoiled brats that get in their SUVs and cut me off, and they have no idea what I deal with all day, nor do they care. The most dangerous thing in humanity is when a person is totally self-centered, because it will ultimately result in other people's death, injury, or destruction. We're raising an entire culture of brats. Teenage girls that can cuss and smart off to authority because they got a pair of boobs. It's disgusting. And the only way all this is going to turn around is when trouble hits America hard. People always worry about China invading. I think the best thing that could happen to America is that we have another country just come in and say, you know, we've had it with you guys. We are going to declare war on you. I guarantee you that these little teenage girls and these little divas, they're going to suddenly go, uh-oh. They'll be the first to be raped by the soldiers of an invading army. Trust me. And then they'll throw them on the ground when they're done if they don't slice their heads off. All of this has been so successful because we're affluent and comfortable. Women are not goddesses. They are not to be worshipped. And when they're acting like this and promoting that, we shouldn't even adore them or give them the attention. But we men are wired by sight, and we fall for this foolish stuff all the time. There's nothing wrong in desiring a good-looking woman. I have a right to that. My body's in shape. I think I'm handsome. I have a right to have an attractive woman. The problem is, you're not getting a lot of rich personality with those kind of women today. They're selfish. They're shallow. They have no substance whatsoever. None. It's all about drinking, partying, the limelight, Facebooking, how cool I am. You're not going to get a good marriage out of that. You're not going to have a good relationship with that. You're certainly not going to find a friend for life with women like that. But yet, this is pushed at us every day. It causes torment for men because men deep down inside know I can't get a woman like that. So basically, men reduce themselves to looking at that kind of pornography and saying, well, I can just fantasize. I had a thought that hit me last night that maybe we should just turn off all this stuff. Not even look at this anymore. For men, I believe their battle would probably be easier if we just turned off all the media. But if we check out entirely, well, then might as well go back to being Amish. That's not going to work for me. But Asian women have their problems too. And same daydreamer, you're right. Chinese women in Hong Kong are all about the money. A Chinese woman told me to my face, we here in Hong Kong have saying, no money, no honey. There you have it. And when a Chinese or a Filipina turns 30 years old, they think themselves old. Because even the Asian men want the young, firm-breasted, tight-bodied girls. Many office ladies, when they hit their 30s, are let go of their jobs because they want the young ones in there. Very sexist, very discriminatory society. Thailand is that way. There's problems. So we have to temper that and say there are things in Asia that are not good. A lot of things. But anyways, this is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.